97.7.
That's how I roll.
And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
Live in full gorgeous color over your radio signal from Mark Camara's Furniture Factory. We welcome you in to the drive as we're live here at the Furniture Factory. Got a guest list that features David Basil. We'll talk a little Arkansas football coming up in hour number 2 as the Hogs coming off of a tough loss against LSU. See how they rebound and move on from there. And we'll also talk with Jay Jacobs, the former athletic director at Auburn University and previous stop at Florida. But he is now a retired individual and want to get his temperature on the Deep South's oldest rivalry. It just feels weird to engage in a conversation about the Deep South's oldest rivalry when it's 90 degrees outside.
Yes.
But it feels great out here.
Yes, and it's going into week 5, which we're already through.
How about that?
5 weeks of football, really, if you count week 0, whichever that means, whoever invented that name.
Yeah.
So, still a lot of questions out there, but I think that, you kind of be good time to kind of look at the Saragans rankings.
You want to?
Yes.
Okay.
I would love to see those.
I brought it up thinking you might.
Yeah. So you're about 33%. 30% through with the
we're
season.
through the first quarter post.
Yes.
Would you like to know who the number 1 team is in the country according to Sagarin?
I would guess it's Ohio State.
That is not right. They're number 2.
Georgia.
That is not right. They're number 3.
Texas.
Texas is number 6.
I have no idea then.
The Alabama Crimson Tide
Makes no sense.
is number 1.
How does that work? That doesn't make any sense.
Their overall rating is at a 92.29. That is .03 ahead of Ohio State. Ohio State's at a 92.26. Georgia is 3rd. Oklahoma is 4th. Penn State, Texas, Michigan, Oregon, Washington, and Southern California. Now, we have discussed the SEC being down, have we not?
Yes.
So I looked at the conference ratings. Right now, your top division is the SEC West, followed by the Big Ten East. Then the Pac-12 checks in at number 3. Then the SEC East is number 4, ahead of the Big 12 and the ACC.
So, how is Middle Tennessee doing?
Is Middle Tennessee? Are they in the AAC?
Yeah, but I'm just
trying to decipher.
They must be playing everybody really tough because that's the only thing that makes any sense.
Are they CUSA? It's hard to keep all this stuff straight. I'm trying to track down Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, they did not want to be separated from Western Kentucky.
I wouldn't either.
Still scrolling. I probably have missed it in my first run through here, but I'm down to James Madison is 71st on this list. Army checks in at number 84. It's a bye week, by the way, for the Black Knights, so no Crawdaddy tomorrow, but we will pick up the football and run with it next week. UAB checks in at number 110, coming off of their loss at Georgia. Vanderbilt is 109 on the rankings. That's not helping us too terribly much. That is your lowest ranked SEC team in the Sagarin rankings, if I can talk.
Well, I mean, so I'm looking at who they played through the weeks. And, of course, last week they lost by 8 to Colorado State. Beat Murray State, lost by 4 to Missouri. And, of course, they beat San Diego State, which is not no, that was in the bowl game, excuse me. So
is that last year?
So they lost them. I think it has to be that score a 56-7, where all the other games they've either won or been close games.
So
I don't get it, though. That doesn't make sense to me. I mean,
I did want to sneak in at least a little bit. In case you watched it last night, the public broadcasting system, Alabama Public Broadcasting System, aired Mighty, the life and legacy of Pat Dye. So, Wes, it's pretty widely reported that I never get credit for questions that I ask in the SEC teleconference. Well, now I can add on questions that I asked to Pat Dye in a documentary.
really?
Yeah. In fact, it was said verbatim for the voiceover guy. It was said by a radio talk show host. No credit. No credit to you or the station or to me. But the question I asked Pat Dye, and I know because I sent the documentaries all of our interviews because they wanted to hear the interviews. And after I sent them all of our interviews, I got an email back from the documentary saying, could you scroll it back to your favorite ones? And I said, they're all pretty good. But the one that really stood out the most to me was the one that lasted the longest. This would be May 29th, 2018.
God, it's been 5 years.
How about that? When we were at Crooked Oaks, and I asked the following question to Coach Dye. Well, Coach, we've talked quite a bit about the letter that you sent to Coach Bear Bryant to get into coaching. But in terms of what gave you that bug and that itch to coach, do you remember?
Yeah, I remember exactly. My relationship with my high school coach. Did Tommy wants to coach you?
Tommy Owen?
Yeah.
No, he'd already, but I'm close with him, very.
Yeah. Who coached you up?
Coach Glover.
Okay. Well, my high school coach, he played for Wallace Wade at Duke. And of course, now I'm going to tell you something. I ain't very tough today. I'm a sissy. But back then, I mean, I just like a lighted knot. I mean, the tougher it got, the better I liked it, because the tougher it got, you could see it in the eyes. They'd be looking for an easy way to go. And that's what he was. I mean, he would take those little old players and get everything we had. And I loved him for it. And he knew every button I had, and he could push them all. And it was kind of we had a great coach in Harry Milligan that had won a state championship at Richmond. He took a job at McCullough after the season was over, and I think maybe after spring practice, and Coach Inman was kind of a default. Well, he took us and made a football team out of us, and we won the state championship. Coach Milligan at Linton went to McCullough. He went 14-0. He wasn't no bad coach himself. But Coach Inman is the reason I wanted to be a head football coach, because I loved him so much and so strong, and our relationship was so strong. And I said, if I can have this kind of relationship with a young man and young men the rest of my life, this is what I want to do.
Make it.
So that's honestly, I've got 18 minutes of Coach Dye right there, and I want to play the whole thing because it goes into the Harper Lee story.
Yeah, that's when we just let it run.
Yeah. So the famous words are uttered about 10 minutes into it, where I said, Ray, put it in manual.
Yeah.
And to Ray's credit, he was listening instead of watching Vanna turning letters.
Because it's already over. It was over. It was over because we went over.
Yeah. So, got some audio that I want to play from Zach Arnett, the Mississippi State head coach. And Coach Saban was asked about facing Mississippi State team not led by Mike Leach. And it does remind me of what Coach Leach talked about in the press conference after the game last year, of his team having a problem with the jersey, having a problem with the jersey. And we'll see whether or not. I thought Mississippi State played really well against South Carolina once I finally watched it last night. And so
I think it's who's in the jerseys that is a lot of the problem.
That's a fair point.
I mean, you've been on Mississippi State. I don't think Mississippi State is that good. I don't think South Carolina is that good.
Yeah.
I thought Arkansas played one hell of a game. But, you know, Arkansas, who do they have this week? Then they go to Ole Miss next week and then Alabama.
Yeah. I'm going to have to look it up. I don't know off the top of my head.
I don't know.
They need to get better game because they have the gauntlet in front of them.
But
because
Alabama's a box of chocolates too, so I think anybody they play.
Ooh, Arkansas's got A&M this week.
Yeah,
Lord of mercy.
Yeah,
well, that game's always ridiculous anyway.
Right. Obviously, they should have won it last year. Played well enough to win it.
We're doing this game. ESPN Radio is doing this game, so we're actually picking it up this weekend. So that'll be good to hear. Rolling into Alabama's game.
So what are the kick times?
The Arkansas A&M game is 11 a.m. Central Time on the SEC Network and ESPN Radio. Auburn, Georgia is 2:30 CBS. LSU, Ole Miss, 5 o'clock Central. That's on ESPN. Alabama, Mississippi State is 8 o'clock Central Time.
Oh, really?
And I would anticipate that being pushed back as well. I would anticipate that being more like an 8:15-ish start because the earlier games are going to push back. That's on ESPN television. Your commentators, Mark Jones, Rod Gilmore, and Quentin Kieschning. I'm probably pronouncing his last name wrong. Probably not the first time that's happened. Let's go ahead and take our first time out. The former Auburn AD, Jay Jacobs, going to join us on the other side, talk a little Deep South's oldest rivalry. Next, there's Timon.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hunting and tailgating season is on us, and at Woody Anderson Ford, we believe it's time you got serious about an F-150. We've got nearly 150 to choose from, and without a doubt, one of the best F-150 values on the road today is our STX package. You get 290 hard-working horses, mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission that'll take you everywhere from that tree stand to downtown Tuscaloosa. Body-colored bumpers, halogen headlamps, 20-inch machined aluminum wheels, and lots of tech too, like a rear-view camera with dynamic hitch assist, which you boaters and RVers will love. A 2023 Woody Anderson Ford F-150 STX packs a punch, but doesn't cost a bunch. You can drive one for $499 a month. $499. 36-month lease with $52.10 due at signing. No security deposit plus tax, tag, and title. Includes $399 dealer fee with your good credit. Offer ends September 30th. Call 539-9441 for complete details. Woody Anderson Ford. Hope to see you soon.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at GeneracSuperstore.com.
These days, saving time is important, and saving money is even more so. That's where Eagle Masonry and Insulation comes in. Over the years, Eagle has expanded their services to meet the needs of folks like you in our area. If you need masonry, brick, stone, or block work, Eagle should be your first call. They can even help if your property needs grading, erosion control, and Eagle can handle dirt haul-off. Call Eagle Masonry and Insulation today at 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time, and Eagle saves you money.
Do you want your next party to be something you'll remember? Then head on down to Flosa Premier to book your next big bash. Birthday? Corporate meeting? Maybe just a family reunion so you can get your cousin Kyle back into the basketball court so you can beat him at basketball. I don't have no idea. Flow is fun for all ages looking for high-flying excitement, arcade fun, and tasty snacks to satisfy your hunger. Whether you have 10 friends or 25, Flow is jam-packed with something fun for everyone. Get jumping with Flow off South Parkway in Drake or head over to flowhuntsville.com to book your next party now.
If you work in a dangerous or logistically intense industry, you know good training can be a challenge. There are training costs, safety concerns, and difficulty replicating real-world scenarios. There's a better way used right now in the Army and in all our armed services to better prepare our heroes, and it's available to you in your organizations. Higher Echelon's Game Development Team is revolutionizing learning in military training, dangerous industry, STEM, and sports performance domains with cutting-edge virtual training that immerses you in lifelike scenarios without the cost and safety concerns for trainees. With Higher Echelon's game-based training, you'll experience realistic simulations, precision accuracy, and unparalleled safety. Higher Echelon founder Dr. Joe Ross is retired Army who played and later coached for the cadets and puts that experience to use. His team has been building cutting-edge virtual training environments for soldiers and clients for a decade. Higher Echelon, the name you can trust for advanced training solutions. Reach out at higherechelon.com to get your free consultation. Go higher and go Army.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
This segment of The Drive is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, located online at woodyandersonford.com with 2 locations, Hughes Road in Madison and Jordan Lane in Huntsville.
I guess that's my cue to talk. We welcome you back here, live from the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill, walking you up to what is the final homestand for the Atlanta Braves as they welcome in the Chicago Cubs. And then it'll be the Nationals before the season is done. The Deep South's oldest rivalry is once again renewed. And let's talk a little bit about that, as well as maybe just a college football in general talk with our next guest, as we are live here at Mark Camara's Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. And Jay Jacobs is kind enough to join us, the former Auburn athletic director. Jay, I know your birthday is sneaking up next weekend. I'll buy you a steak. Just come on up here. How are you?
Hey, I'm going to hold you to that, Steve. Thank you. I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, outstanding. Yeah, I don't want to reveal the age of the birthday, but how have you been, sir?
I've been great. I retired from Florida. Was there for 5 years, and golly, Angie and I just thoroughly enjoyed it. But we moved back to Auburn about 2 months ago, and have 2 daughters in Birmingham, and just closer to them. And we're glad to be back. My wife, after only 2 months, has said, "Okay, Jay, I understand this retirement stuff, but you got to find something else to do, my friend." Instead of being around the house all day. So,
yeah. So, are you looking right now? Well, what do you want to do?
Not. No. The only thing I would do was just if I could do something with some charities or foundations, which we've got a couple of those in the works, and just do some stuff to help people. But I'm not looking for a job at all. No, not at all.
Gotcha. Well, we'll see what we can do and drum up some business in the Jacobs community. But it feels really weird to talk about the Deep South's oldest rivalry when it's 90 degrees outside, Jay.
It really is. Moving that game up, there was a lot of thought into that, and one of the main things was that both of us, Auburn and Georgia, It was on the back end of our season, so it made it, in us them playing Georgia Tech and us playing Alabama, it was a little bit of a tough grind, and then going to an SEC championship game. But I agree with you. It does feel a little weird. I wish we could back that thing up a couple of weeks, but that's hard to do with, Georgia trying to keep an open week before they play Florida in Jacksonville. But, hey, with Texas and Oklahoma coming in, who knows what may happen. So, but it's still a great rivalry.
There's no doubt about that. And I was actually in Athens this past weekend. Georgia does not look like they're all on the same page, but I say that to say they're still undefeated, and there's still a heck of a lot of talent there. And I know Hugh is still building his roster and trying to formulate what he needs to get together. I know Auburn's got a bye week next week. So what do you think about this matchup, Jay?
Well, I loved it. This is one of my favorite games. The Auburn-Georgia rivalry is just, it's one of those things where we have so many connections. Coach Dooley went here and coached there. Coach Dye went there and coached here. And, Rodney Garner worked over there. Stacey Searles, who played here, All-American, is the coach over there. Dale McGee, who played here, he's the coach over there. It's just so many things where there's so much crossover. It's almost like family, man. It's a heated family on this Saturday.
Oh yeah.
But, it is a great rivalry. I always loved going to Athens, and I think the Georgia people and the players love coming here. And so many of the players, and Wes knows this. So many of the players, they all know each other.
Yeah.
Because they've both been recruited by Georgia and Auburn. They both played high school together or all-star games together. There's just so much respect there between the players and the coaching staff that it makes it just a great rivalry. And, for this game, certainly on paper, Georgia has got a lot more talent than Auburn does at this time. So Auburn will have to play its very best and not turn the ball over, and Georgia will have to make some mistakes. But it'll be a sold-out crowd. It'll be a lot of fun in Jordan-Hare on Saturday afternoon.
And if it can happen anywhere,
oh yeah,
it can happen in Jordan-Hare. Yeah, Jordan-Hare. So when you look at this game, draw up what has to happen for Auburn to win. I mean, you said it; they can't turn the ball over.
Well, Georgia did put the ball on the ground 3 times against UAB. They lost 2 of them.
They'll be concentrating a lot more against us, against Auburn, and the defense will have to cause turnovers for that to happen. We'll have to grab some extra possessions, Wes and Steve, in order to have a chance. We have to play a perfect game, and we'll have to play perfect technique, because Hugh just doesn't have the talent at this point that Georgia does. But we all know that even when you have the best talent, the guy that shows up ready to play with with aggressiveness and just a real bad attitude has a really good chance to win the one-on-one battle. So it all goes out the window on this game, on these rivalry games like this. But on paper, with the recruiting that Kirby's done and his staff have done over the last few years, and Auburn in a transition year, you would think they would have the upper hand. But that's why you play the game on Saturday, and both these teams will be ready to give it the best game they've had all year.
Well, there was certainly opportunities, and defensively Auburn looked really good against Texas A&M, and there was a couple of wide-open players. Had there been a more accurate pass, we could be talking about a much different scenario there in the fourth quarter. Auburn seems like a fourth-quarter team in what I've seen so far, Jay, of playing their best ball in the fourth quarter.
I agree with you. I watched that game and against Texas A&M, and it really is it is so close. But nobody really cares about close. We lost, but just a few things here and there, changes the game. And sometimes you win those games, and a few things change that you could have easily lost, and vice versa. It's just the way the game is. And, it'll usually bring a team. It'll make a difference in this team. How they view what happened this past Saturday and the last couple of Saturdays, will it forge them together? And I think with Hugh's experience and his coaching staff, I think they'll get stronger as they go on. Whether it'll be good enough to win Saturday night, I don't know. But they're going to play better Saturday afternoon than they played the last few games.
It's so hard to put a pulse on a team and what makes a team, but kind of seeing that signature of a fourth quarter team, I mean, I don't know if the peptide, and you could argue the same thing at Georgia with their slow starts that they've had this year, and I almost want to ask Kirby and Hugh tomorrow during the teleconference, is your pep talk, hey, we're down by 11 and it's halftime?
I don't know, but, the great teams always find a way to win. They find a way to get it done, even when they win ugly. They find a way to get it done. That's what Georgia's done. They found a way to get it done.
Well, there's been so much talk about parity in college football, and I do wonder, having just been at the University of Florida and kind of seeing the guts a little bit of the transfer portal, how much would you attribute the portal to this parity?
I think that's the number one point of the parity. I really do. But it could also be negative. If somebody goes in the transfer portal and you believe that you're getting something that is really, really good, and you find out that you're not, then you've created a problem. But I think the transfer portal, the way it is today, gives you a chance to get healthy and to build a team that you can feel like you're on equal footing with when you walk on the field, because you can plug holes from graduation or whatever it may be, in the during the transfer portal time. So I think it has a lot to do with it,
because that also rolls into, I want to say, team chemistry, which we don't talk nearly enough about, and really depth on a squad, which has been talked about a little bit, but I think that team chemistry is a bigger deal. Is that fair to say, Jay?
I think it's really fair to say, but I will say this, that when you look out there at Colorado, what Dion has done, he brought all these transfers in, and they seem to have chemistry. So I think you can get the chemistry and the culture. You just have to be real careful who you pick and how you lead that. And it by all accounts, it seems like he's done a masterful job doing that at Colorado. But I think that the things that us older guys have experienced is the culture in the locker room, and I think it matters today, but I'm not 100% convinced yet. It hadn't been enough time to know, to see, what is that culture? What is that, that unity that's there, or is it even necessary anymore? I hate to say that, but I wonder that sometimes.
So moving forward, what are issues you think that are big issues that is not being talked about surrounding collegiate athletics, Jay, from your standpoint?
Well, you asked the thing, Steve, that's not being talked about. The thing that's being talked about is NIL, and it is. I agree with the players being able to get revenue from what they're doing. Just the process we have is it doesn't work. It's not fair. It's just not fair. They're the have and the have-nots. But you know what? Maybe that's just the way the world is now. Maybe it's just changing. Maybe that's the way it's going to be. I think that's part of it. The other threat that we have is with our female Olympic sports, is that if we have to use all of our resources to fund football, men's basketball, baseball, softball, and maybe women's basketball, that's going to make it really challenging for athletics departments to fully fund swimming and diving and track and tennis and golf, gymnastics. Is going to make it very challenging to be able to do all those. Now, every institution is unique, and some may be in a better position to do that than others, but it also makes you wonder, what about the opportunities for these ladies? What's going to happen there? And also, with the funding piece, these other opportunities for these men. at some point, it's not, the business that we're in is not really a business. Nobody would ever take over this business as college athletics as a CEO and say, I'm going to give the stockholders a return on their investment, because generally speaking, 65 to 80% of your revenue comes from one sport, depending upon your school. And to fund others is making it more and more difficult. But at Florida and at Auburn, I know that there is the strongest of commitments to make sure that we provide an opportunity for everybody on campus, male and female.
Talking to Jay Jacobs right now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline.
Jay, you were talking about Deion, and what I like about Deion, and nobody there's actually videos. He's not saying it the same way, but he's carrying the same message that Coach Bryant, Coach Saban, Coach Dye, Coach Freeze, I'm sure is now. He's the same leadership and the same message about doing things right, going to class, being respectful, sitting in the front of the class, all the things that we were taught, he's teaching to them. And
is he?
Oh, yes.
Well, the only reason I interrupt you is because of the video Oregon released about his players trash talking on the field before the game started. That's the only reason I go there.
Well, I don't like the trash talking before the game. I didn't see that. I'm just talking about you go listen to his daily speeches. It's pretty impressive. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
That for him, listen, they're going to get killed probably again this weekend.
They got USC this week.
But it's the way that they played in the first three games that was incredible to me. Where they went from, how they went, how he recruits. He doesn't want any problem kids. I mean, you got to take a chance, and we've talked about that occasionally. But the more leaders you have on a team, the more alpha dogs you have on a team, the better you're going to be. You can't have these guys. Go ahead.
No, please finish. You can't have these guys what?
You can't have these guys leading in the wrong direction.
Exactly.
It kills teams. Kills them.
I never thought about it until you just said it. But you're 100% right. Those guys back in the 70s and 80s, they talked about that every day. They talked to your mama about it. They talked to you about it. They talked to everybody about those values. And I don't know if it's because it's become politically incorrect or whatever, but you just don't hear that as much these days. And you're right. Deion, every clip I see of him, he is consistent, and he is steady with that. And, Steve, to your point, I heard what you said about, the trash talking and all that. It's his first year there, and he's trying to build a culture. And, you can't legislate morality. Some guys are going to do some things. I mean, when I was the conditioning coach at Auburn, I brought a forensic specialist in from DeKalb County, Georgia, and one afternoon he showed us some terrible things about drinking and driving. Well, that night we had one of our players who was sitting in that meeting get pulled over for DUI. So my point is that you got to do everything you possibly can, but just remember that these are 18 to 22-year-olds, and they're human beings, and they're flawed, and we're all going to make mistakes. But to your point, Wes, I can hear Coach Stallings, Coach Bryant, Coach Dye, Coach Dooley. I can hear that in how Deion's doing it. Now, did anybody think this would work at Colorado? That everybody. There's a lot of people probably changing their minds now, but he's got something going on there. But my point is, we're going back to your question, Steve, was the culture of the game, and the transfer portal and bringing in people in certain pieces. Does it impact your culture? I think it does. I don't know what that's going to look like, but the NFL does it every year, and Major League Baseball does it almost weekly. It's just maybe that's just where we are. Maybe some of us are just old school and have to learn to change and adjust to this new way of doing things.
Well, I am by no means trying to throw stones, because the next perfect game I pitch will be my first one. And I know that always applies to not only players but coaches too. I mean, think about some joker that hired some coach down at Auburn back in 2014. I mean, how did that work out with Bruce Pearl down there on the Plains? I'm still trying to figure that out, Jay.
If he wasn't such an introvert, he'd be fun to be around.
He needs to open up a little bit more, and it's great to have him up in Huntsville. By the way, I'm not sure if you saw that they were playing a game against UNC Asheville in December up here in Huntsville.
Oh, that is great. Well, good. I know y'all will have a big time, but. I know you're not throwing stones, brother. It's this job has a lot of highs and lows, and you just got to sometimes stop and just remember the highs, even though the lows are they're branded on you. But anyway, it's college athletics is a wonderful thing. It is a wonderful thing, and I don't think there's any of us that want that to change. And Saturday when Georgia comes rolling in here. The Auburn people are gonna believe they can win. The Georgia fans are gonna believe they can win, and it'll be a wonderful game, just like it will be the rest of the season for both these teams and others. It is just a great place for people to come together and unify, as long as the adults don't screw it up.
Tell me a little bit about a football coaching search from an AD's perspective. What goes into a coaching hire, football coaching hire at an SEC school, Jay?
It's at an SEC school, hiring a football coach is the toughest thing you'll probably ever do from a business or management or must-do standpoint. And when I say that, what I mean is that your number one priority is making sure your student athletes have all the resources they need to be successful. That's the number one priority. But the thing that is the most challenging is hiring a football coach in the Southeastern Conference, because there's so many different things that go into that attribute to where you end up and who you talk to. It is really challenging. But what you want to do is you just want to be thorough and try to have people involved that have the same values and represent the same culture as your school. Because if they don't, they won't have a chance to be successful. So, people use this all the time, fit, but fit is so important. How are they going to, relate to your players? How are they going to relate to the students on campus, your alumni, your former players? All those things are so very important. And really at this level, wins and losses, there's a scoreboard there for a reason. You can tell what somebody's record is. Now, I went against that when I hired Gene Chizik in 2000 and late 2008, before the 2009 season. But I'd worked with Gene, and Gene had been the defensive coordinator at Auburn in Texas and gone undefeated. Now, if I'd hired Gene right after Texas going undefeated, nobody would have said anything. But going to Iowa State and him only winning 5 games, boy, it created an uproar, as anybody would. I knew the man. I knew him, and I knew that he played in the Southeastern Conference, coached here, and I knew it was different. And I knew his values and his morals. I knew he was going to do it the right way. But it is, I've said challenging about 10 times. I think I've made my point hiring a football coach here. But you have to get as much information as you possibly can. And what's even more important than that, Steve, is being able to discern what's actually truth from fiction. Because you'll get calls from key people that say, Coach John Doe will take your job. Well, when you talk to John Doe, he's got no interest in taking your job. He just wants to get a raise where he is. and you don't hire John Doe, and everybody says, why didn't you hire John? Everybody, and all the fans, as they should, think that every coach wants to come to your school. Why wouldn't they? Well, that's not actually the case when you get out there and you start looking and trying to make a good decision for your student athletes and for your fan base.
Can you talk about Gene Chizik right there? Can you at least, I mean, since you went there, was there anybody else on your radar that during that particular coaching search?
Oh yeah, we interviewed. We talked to probably five or six different people, and without calling any names, those that we talked to, none of them are head coaches today. and there were some that were more popular than others. But when we sat down and talked to Gene, and having watched him work here at Auburn, I knew that he was the right kind of guy for what we needed at the time. I certainly hate the way it ended in 2012. There were just too many.
Yeah.
There was just too much change going on. I mean, Gus leaves. Ted Roof, the defensive coordinator, he leaves. We had this tragic shooting with a couple of players, former players, at an apartment complex, and I don't think anybody really understood at the time how that impacted our football players. Matter of fact, in 2013, Gus told me about August or September of 2013, Gus said, Jay, the impact that shooting had on these players is far more than I ever would have expected. It was shocking to them. It was shocking to all of us.
Yeah.
It was just a lot of things. A lot of things happened, and it didn't work out for the long haul, which is disappointing to me and more disappointing to Gene and his family. But it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
We got. We were fortunate to get a national championship, and but what you want consistency over time, and because of all the different changes, it just didn't work out for him at that time. He's a really good football coach and a great guy.
Right now, defensive coordinator on an undefeated team there at Chapel Hill.
Yeah. So what I would say, if you're all 14 schools, if you went to them, there's not one way to hire a coach. I bet all 14 do it a little different.
I think you're 100% right, Wes. And it all depends on the environment in which you're trying to hire in as well.
Yeah. Well, in terms of fit, I don't know if you watched it last night, but I certainly did. The documentary on Coach Dye on Alabama Public Television, there could not have been a better fit, albeit the ending wasn't maybe as great as Auburn fans wanted it to be because of what happened, but fit-wise, there's not a better fit than Pat Dye at Auburn.
There's no doubt about it. I got a chance to see that. Angie, my wife, and I got a chance to see that last week here on campus. And there are pivotal times in the history of an institution where certain things happen that either are a catalyst for its prominence to rise up, or something negative happens. Coach Dye, coming to this campus in 1981, has put Auburn on a trajectory that it hadn't had before, or at least when it had it with Coach Jordan, it had gone down for a lot of different reasons. But we were able to win the national championship in 2010 because of the things that Coach Dye did for Auburn. And Tommy was able to go undefeated in 2004 because of the foundation that Coach Dye had laid. And I would venture to say, Wes, that Coach Saban, because of the history that Coach Bryant built there at Alabama, that Coach Saban and the University of Alabama and his fans are still benefiting from what he did there. And there's a lot of great coaches in between, but as far as the impact that one individual can have, Coach Dye, I don't know of anybody that has done more for Auburn in my lifetime for sure than he did.
So, to me, you're either part of they're cornerstones in universities. They hire. You're either a hay that's going to be washed away, or you become a cornerstone. And Coach Dye is one of those cornerstones of the university. And there's no question he changed the trajectory of Auburn athletics. Totally.
I agree. And I feel the same thing from Bruce, the Pearl in men's basketball. I think he has changed the trajectory of men's basketball. And when you do
for the whole conference, because
that's what I was about to say, Wes. That's exactly what I was about to say. Because what Coach Saban has done at Alabama has changed the whole conference. Everybody's gotten better.
No question.
Everybody, so it all, it helps everybody. It helps everybody. You can't make the weak strong by making the strong weak. Everybody's got to get stronger. And good competition does that. It really does. For those that aren't faint-hearted, and nobody on this call is faint-hearted.
Well, the train's coming in, so that probably means we have to end our conversation here, Jay. But I cannot thank you enough for hopping on. I know it's a special week down on the plains, and again, it just feels weird talking about this in September, but I'm looking forward to going down to the plains this weekend myself, sir.
Well, hey, thank you, Steve and Wes. I sat in the stands for the first time since 1984, a couple of Saturdays ago at Auburn, and I'll be there this Saturday. They're honoring the 1983 SEC champions, which I was on that team, and we're going to have a big time. But, hey, thank you all for what you do. And, hey, and all the listeners, when you get a chance to lift somebody up, don't pass up the opportunity. Life is short, and there's a lot of people out there like my dear friend Mike Hamilton, the former AD at Tennessee. He is struggling with cancer, and there's hope. There's hope and there's prayer, and there's a strong faith. But just remember, when you run into somebody, it could be their last day, and make sure that you make a positive impact on them, because you may be the last person that has a chance to minister to them. And I appreciate Wes and Steve what y'all are doing, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to visit with y'all today. And I sure hope we shock the world Saturday in Jordan-Hare.
Hey, it wouldn't be the first time at Jordan-Hare. Some strange things have happened
no question.
Down there at Jordan-Hare. Thank you so much, Jay.
Y'all, God bless. Thank you.
That is Jay Jacobs, the former Auburn athletic director. Let's go ahead and take our final time out here in hour number one. David Basil set to join us in hour number two. Arkansas and Texas A&M.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Since 1986, Full Moon Barbecue has been cooking quality meats low and slow over a hickory wood-fired pit. From ribs and wings, brisket, turkey, catfish, and sausage to the best butts in town. If you're planning a holiday or a birthday party, Full Moon has a large banquet room. And Full Moon is ready for your next catering or tailgate. Just call us and we'll take care of everything. 256-713-0070. Full Moon Barbecue on the Parkway next to Costco. The best little pork house in Alabama.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Stan McDonald. Stan, tell everybody why you're the best damn dirt lawyer in North Alabama.
Yes, Wes, at Jacob Title and the Stanton Law Firm. You know I'm a dirt lawyer, and a lot of our friends know that, which means we specialize in real estate. Now, if you own real estate or you're buying it or you're selling it, you need to do a closing, but a lot of times there's legal issues associated with that. We're a great group to talk to. My son, Lewis McDonald, heads our commercial closing division, and we approach your real estate needs very seriously. We seek to be the premier real estate closing company in North Alabama, and we do it in such a way it shows that we're experienced, we're for your success. We like to handle your real estate needs the same way Coach Dan Reeves used to say, never let them see you sweat. And that's going to be to your benefit, too, when you visit us at Jacob Title and the Stanton Law Firm. Our website online is jacobtitle.com.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing. We have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates. Residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Philip Love of not only Eagle Insulation, now he represents Eagle Companies. Eagle through the years have added several companies to help individuals or builders through their construction renovation process. Eagle is known to represent quality, efficiency, and professionalism. Philip, I know you do insulation, but do you do masonry?
We do.
Do you do grading, erosion control and dirt hauled off?
We do.
Do you do after paint, which includes shower doors, mirrors, shelving blinds, and bath hardware?
Yes, we do, Wes.
Do you do landscaping and irrigation?
Yes, we do.
So basically, Eagle can help you all along your process of building your house or doing renovations. So do you do plumbing?
We do not, Wes, but we can find somebody to do it.
Just give them time. They'll be there. Anyway, call Eagle Insulation at
256-755-1556.
Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. Call Eagle today.
Thanks, Wes.
There's the phone and no one to answer.
256-576-4977.
And as a result, we got many, many phone calls and letters.
Give us a call on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline today. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Bar and Grill, really good there to catch up with Jay Jacobs, the now retired individual who's looking for work, evidently. Jen, she is not looking for work. Or are you, Jen? Are you looking for work? No, she's just shaking her head. That's great radio. How you doing, Jen?
Am I on?
Yes, you're on.
Yes, we are live on the air. You can't hear? Really? Okay, hang on.
Oh.
Well, this is why you need to... Okay, try it now. How about now?
Oh, there we go.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so I have all these old cronies, right?
Yeah.
Lots of old cronies that love y'all.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
we're not talking the new generation. We're talking old generation.
old generation, but they seem to know what they're talking about.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so let's talk Alabama defense.
Ooh.
Are we allowed to talk defense?
Here we go.
Okay,
I wonder if the boys at 9 a.m. are listening right now.
I'm just saying, and you know I'm not an Alabama fan because this weekend they're coming to Starkville, and I am a Bulldog fan, even though I know darn well they're not going to
You going to the game?
Of course I am. I have the best tailgate there.
Late night?
I know, but I have the best tailgate there. I'm just saying. But let's not talk about my tailgate.
How can you be the best tailgate when 97.7 The Zone is not at the tailgate during the game?
Come! I have the best tailgate. But we're not talking about my tailgate. We're talking about defense.
Okay.
Because that's what I was...
Alabama's defense. Let's break it down.
Let's talk about... So I was told we got lots of facts to talk about. Do you all like facts?
Sure. Let's list the facts.
Because I figure if I win on facts, then I win tequila. Okay, here we go.
She's already gotten one shot off.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so how about they've given up 54 points in 4 games? Have you been keeping track? Because I've been told most people have.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then the last game they had 4 sacks, 10 tackles for loss. Ole Miss was 3 for 14, 10 hurries. Does that sound about right?
Yes.
Are you keeping track?
Yes, it does.
Okay,
Yeah, it does.
so basically they have the youngest roster, right, in the SEC, which makes them the best team. Do you like that?
Wow.
Well, yeah.
I didn't know that nugget about the roster.
Well, yeah, I knew they're the youngest team in the Southeastern Conference, yes.
Now, the youngest doesn't make them the best, although I was told to say that.
A lot of talent
But
there.
anyway, I'm just saying.
So, the thing that Alabama's defense, other than the fourth quarter of the Texas game, which 34 of the 54 points were scored in that game.
That's right.
Is the only quarter they had a bad quarter. Every other quarter they played really well.
Yeah.
Well enough to win every game they've been in except for that one quarter, which is if you go back and look, they're playing a heck of a lot better than they did last year. And doing it with like their best linebacker gets hurt against Ole Miss, and in comes a Jihad Campbell.
Next.
I'm thinking the Jen show every morning.
Next. Okay, so who do you think's going to win on Saturday? Truly, I mean, I really do think Alabama's going to beat us.
What's the line?
Last I checked, it was 14, but 15. It might still be 15. Growing.
I'm just saying, and I mean,
I know Georgia's up by. Last I checked, Georgia was a 16-point favorite at Auburn, and Alabama is around a 15-point favorite at Mississippi State. So
I know. But that being said, if you have a lot of alcohol, that kind of overcomes whatever.
Yeah, when you leave the game, you might not know if you won or lost.
That's right. You don't even know.
That's right.
If you're at my tailgate, you won't know at all.
Yes.
It'll be that good. Okay. All right. So, and I'm supposed to say hi to Mac Peters. Is he a really good friend? Yeah. Okay, all right. Now let's stop talking about that. Okay, so then I was supposed to say, like, there's one team that's going to beat everybody. That's the upset team.
Oh, okay.
Okay? Do y'all like
Who's gonna
Troy
beat-
State or Troy? Is that
Troy?
right?
Yeah,
It's Troy.
Troy now.
Troy.
It used to be
They
Troy
dropped
State.
the-
It's going to be Georgia
State.
State.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
is that what do y'all agree with that?
I haven't looked at that game, but Troy's been playing pretty consistent.
And Georgia State's a pretty good football team now.
Boy, South Alabama's been up, down, up, down, up, down.
Yeah, we're talking
But
about
I
Troy.
know we're talking about Troy. It's another Sun Belt team.
So Troy is playing who?
Georgia State.
Georgia State. Georgia
Yeah.
State
Is it in
undefeated?
Atlanta or?
In
So it's that
Atlanta.
old Turner Field, old Olympic Stadium.
That's right. And we're saying we think Troy's going to beat them. What do you think?
Men of Troy. I like it.
What's the line of that game? 2? They're getting 2. So Troy's you getting 2.
Yeah? Do we like that?
Yeah.
Well, heck yeah.
Now, see,
LSU's getting 2.5 on the road at Ole Miss this Saturday.
Well, I'd bet LSU all the way.
Oh,
That means
all
Ole
the
Miss.
way. Yes,
that
I
means
agree
Ole
with
Miss
that.
is the bet. Wow, that's shocking.
Okay, yeah, right. Okay, so like I feel like last weekend was wah, 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 wah. And when you have wah, wah football, then you go dance here. All that to be said, this weekend I think Georgia's going to win, Alabama's going to win, USC's going to win, Florida's going to win, and Texas A&M's going to win.
What about Tennessee?
Tennessee?
Tennessee plays South Carolina. Tennessee is a 12.5-point home favorite against South Carolina. I know who's got the better quarterback, and he ain't wearing orange.
I don't know. That's a toss-up.
I got to think about that one. So
12.5
points.
Okay, what are you going to say?
I would think South Carolina.
South Carolina?
That means you ought to bet Tennessee.
I'm here for the people.
I won the last tequila shot.
Yes, you did.
Okay, so then
Yes,
I'm
you
going to
did.
bet Tennessee? No? What are we betting?
Yes, you
Yes.
would go with
I'm
Tennessee.
going with
I would
Tennessee.
go with South Carolina.
Okay, that's what we're going to do.
Okay.
So what you ought to do is bet on Alabama.
I've already bet on that. I know dang well they're going to beat Mississippi State. I
Yeah,
know
no, but
that.
that way, if you lose, you're happy because Mississippi State won.
Oh, come on.
Because you're a winner either way.
Oh, shut up. We're not going to. My goodness.
Oh,
That's old news.
Oh, shut up.
Okay.
Hey, I'm not Tom Abraham. You can't talk to me like that.
What do you do? What do you do?
I don't want to get fired. Okay, so should we talk about music?
Sure, what's going on here at the first?
Because if you're tired of talking football, then you come here and
Never
dance.
tired of talking
That's right.
football.
I know no one is, right? Because we've had to hold off all our bands when all these games go on.
Yeah.
People kind of live and die and drink and dance based on who wins. It's ridiculous.
So who you got coming to the factory this year?
Yeah, we've got Dirty Doors and the 90s party. So we've got 90s music and 70s. Now, I never heard of the Doors. Have you ever heard of the Doors?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's not my kind of music. But all that to say, some people like 70s music.
Yeah.
And it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Right.
You get up
Our
here and
theme
dance.
song is from the 70s.
I like your theme song.
Yeah. So I learned something about our theme song.
What's that?
Are you familiar with Teen Spirit, the song?
Yeah. The drum beat, he mimicked what the Gap Band. Yeah.
So I saw him
Smells
get
Like Team Spirit is the drummer who was later the lead for the Foo Fighters. Dave Grohl.
Okay.
Was copying the
Gap
Band. Yeah.
In the beginning of that. So the beginning, yes. The beginning of Teen Spirit was copied from the Gap Band that we played.
Burn Rubber.
Burn Rubber on Me.
See, I think you
You're
should
about to
play
hear
that.
it in about 3 minutes.
I was going to say, you have to play it because I forget.
Well, we're about to play it.
That being said, we've got great music this weekend, great bands this weekend.
How do they get in
Come
contact?
down.
How? Me. You know, FurnitureFactoryBarGirl.com. They can come here and see me. They can call me on my cell because we've got lots of villas, tables, all kinds of reservations.
Yeah.
Y'all come see me.
Mark Camaro's Furniture Factory.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find him online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Nick DeLuca. Some sad news in the world of baseball. Orioles Hall of Fame third baseman Brooks Robinson passed away today at age 86. Robinson made 18 All-Star appearances over a 23-year career in Baltimore. Was a member of the franchise's 1966 and 1970 World Series championship teams. He won 16 consecutive Gold Gloves and was an 18-time All-Star, winning AL MVP in 1964. In the NFL, ugly loss for the Jets this weekend to drop to 1-2 with lots of questions about quarterback Zach Wilson. Should the Jets replace him? ESPN NFL analyst Robert Griffin III says, stay the course.
Listen, man, you don't got any other options. You might as well go ahead and unleash Zach Wilson, whatever there is to unleash. At this point, he is showing right now that he's not giving them the best chance to win. I do think that they have to make a change, but it's not going to be this week. They do need to bring someone in and give him a couple weeks to get to know the offense.
RG3 on Get Up. Wilson and the Jets host the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football this week. New York adding to the QB room, signing veteran Trevor Siemian to the practice squad. NL wildcard chase continues in baseball's final week. Reds going to need some help, 2.5 games back. The last wildcard spot starts with winning tonight. They trail Cleveland 3-1 in the third. 6 games to play for the Diamondbacks, Cubs, and Marlins, separated by just a game in the standings. They're all underway later on tonight.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Wednesday, we start to look ahead to Week 4, which includes some huge divisional matchups. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
Back here at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. He's Wes Neighbors. I'm Steve Moulton. Appreciate you listening. Coming up on Saturday, courtesy of ESPN Radio, our first game in a double feature features a game that is moving out of the Dallas Metroplex and turning into a home and home, which surprises me a little bit. But you've got Texas A&M and Arkansas coming off of a just heart-wrenching game against LSU for the battle for the boot. They're going to have to turn around and lick their wounds and heal up quickly, although I really thought from looking back at the tape that KJ played really well. But let's talk more about the Hogs right now, and who better to talk about the Hogs than David Basil, who's kind enough to join us, the former Hog himself on loan from 103.7 The Buzz. How are you?
Hey, guys, what's up?
Doing well. We're just enjoying football season because it's going far too quickly.
Yeah, it's the best time of the year, man. We're coming up in October. Weather's getting ready to change. Got good games going on now. Trash talking, storylines. So it's all good.
Do you have an update on Rockets right out of the gate?
No. Obviously, with HIPAA, those days are long gone where you really know what the deal is. it is sort of a bizarre deal. It's one of those things where whatever he's got going on, it's just not healing as quickly. Although I was questioning, I don't know what the rules are for travel. My butt would have been down in Baton Rouge with the team, so I don't know if they didn't let him or didn't want to go or what. But and you know what, DeBinya got in there, did a great job the other day. So obviously Rocket's the best running back we got, but luckily the running back room at Arkansas is pretty solid.
It is, but a lot changed off of this football team from a year ago, and it frankly surprised me, David. So how would you say how well this team is meshing?
Well, they really hadn't meshed until this game the other night. I was sort of shocked up in the press box. I didn't recognize this team from the first 3 weeks that we saw them. They played with purpose. They were physical. They had sustained drives against a top 15, top 10 team. Had 4 sustained drives over 75 yards, 2 additional drives over 50. And we didn't do that against Western Carolina, Kent State, and BYU for the most part. So it was really like, where's this team been? And that's what I think, fans have been a little grumpy about, is that just they haven't looked like they came out there wanting to win worse than their opponent. They looked like it on Saturday night and went toe to toe with LSU and had a chance there at the end to maybe win the ball game.
They really did. I thought KJ looked fantastic. I'm not sure what else he could have done.
Yeah, guys, you remember, at SEC Media Days, those 2 quarterbacks, Daniels and Jefferson, were the 2 most recognized or highly touted quarterbacks coming into this season, and they proved it. I mean, it was a battle royale for both of those guys going back and forth. And the great thing, obviously Daniels is a speedster, man. I tell you, he's guaranteed to get at least 5 yards when he gets outside the pocket. They can't stop him. He's so fast, he's going to pick up 5. But I thought the offensive line for Arkansas did a little bit better job of just giving KJ a little bit of time. Against BYU, they had bodies on him. This time, LSU just got some hands on him, and you can't bring him down with hands. And he would extend the play by another second or two just because of his size at 6'3", 250, and then scrambling around and then very accurate in his passing. He's a gamer, and it was entertaining to watch those 2 go at each other.
So Arkansas's run defense, is it as good as it statistically shows to me, or is it a little bit? You tell me, what do you think of Arkansas's rush defense?
Yeah, it's there's sometimes they play well. The first half against LSU, they look solid, both run-wise, pass defense, everything, pressure on the quarterback, and then other times you would see gaping holes, and you go back to BYU, and there was I think a 40-yard run right up the gut, and so they're inconsistent. I think that those numbers are a little inflated because of who we played the first couple of games, and this defense is better than what they were last year. I think that the linebacker room, and the defensive line is better. But what you saw in the second half is that a defense that could not stop LSU. I mean, LSU scored every possession in the second half, and a lot of those were big plays. A lot of those were secondary, the gaps, and sometimes I think some poor choices to let number 8 out there for LSU Neighbors run around without having a safety over the top, keeping an eye on him and others. But I think they're a little bit better against the run than some of the deep balls, and so we'll see. We'll see how much progress they make from LSU to A&M.
I'm curious what you think about the Texas A&M passing game and the differences you saw between Connor and Max Johnson.
Well, they're both good quarterbacks. Really, we haven't yet seen the what we probably expected yet with the Bobby Petrino passing offense. Now, it's going to be interesting with Arkansas playing this week against Bobby Petrino. Bobby Petrino put up some huge numbers as the Razorback head coach and play caller against Texas A&M when he was at Arkansas back in this same building, Jerry's World. But I think so far we really haven't seen it, and I think it. It may be the quarterback position. Like I said, both those guys are good quarterbacks. They're not, I don't think outstanding quarterbacks. They're solid. So I don't think we've seen it yet. And because of that, I'll tell you, Steve, I think Arkansas has a chance in this ball game. Now watch them go out there and look like, the 49ers of the 80s or the Mahomes and the Chiefs. But I don't think we've seen that yet out of A&M against quality opponents.
Well, heck, we saw it out of Bobby Petrino when he came to Fayetteville and gave Sam a little bit of a scare, and I'm sure a scare for everybody, when he brought his Missouri State team there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, no question about it. And he had that team ready to play. He's a very good football coach. And but you know what's crazy about that series, Steve, is that it's almost like the LSU-Arkansas series. That game is always competitive. It's always close. And Arkansas has found ways to lose that game over the last 7 or 8 years. It's the most mystifying thing. If you look last year, it's I think Arkansas is getting ready to go up 21-7. They're really, it may be 21-0, but 21-7 or something, one of those two. And they're down to the 1 yard line. And I mean, they're really dominating A&M. And remember, KJ goes up and does the Superman dive from the shotgun, and the ball pops out, and A&M goes 99 yards, and the game turns, and the season turned. And it just is. There have been ways. It's one of, I go in the press conference after every game over the last 10 years, and that's been the most difficult room to be in, whether it be with Bielema or Chad Morris or whoever. Just finding way. Even last year with Sam Pittman, man, we were just cursed in that game. Only beating them once in the last 7 or 8 years. So, but it's always been close no matter what year. So I expect that again on Saturday.
So Arkansas needs to have a lucky. Motorcycle rally.
A lucky motorcycle. Oh, wow.
Knew that was coming.
Maybe a lucky neck brace.
Yeah, like
Maybe you can have a lucky neck brace on the sideline.
So you guys can imagine the poor Arkansas fan base, the things that we've dealt with over the years, from golly Mosey, from that happening, and then the Chad Morris debacle, and it's just. Of course, that's always been a part of will always be a part of the narrative of that. But if you really think about it, Bobby Petrino had this team in the top 10, went to a BCS bowl. He had this. He had this program. Of course, the late Ryan Mallett, Tyler Wilson. I think it may be some of his best offenses besides obviously at Louisville, where he had the Heisman Trophy winner in Jackson. But listen, the guy knew how to coach, and he had it go in the right direction. And as some Arkansas fans would say, our luck, that kind of situation happens, and it all went to hell in the handbasket after that.
A lesser talk show host would bring up John L. Smith as well, but I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not that kind of guy. So,
thank you. That's adding to it. Yeah, another year. Oh my gosh, that was. Hey, you guys will appreciate this. I do the Little Rock Touchdown Club, and we had him speak that year, and it was about the 4th week of the season. We just got beaten, I think, by Alabama or something, and he was trying to be positive, and he said, "Hey," and we probably had 500 people in the room, and I'm sitting right beside him, and he said, "We got to believe we're going to come back. This is the state of Alabama. We can get this thing done." And I looked out at the crowd, and I could see everybody going to their phone tweeting. He just said the state of Alabama, so I had to lean over to him as the coach. You just said the state of Alabama, and he said, "Oh, well, did I?" So he had to correct that. That was just one of many things that in that year. But nice fella, but not a great football coach.
Well, I did want to talk about your sit-down with Peyton Hillis. And if you've not seen the powerful video on YouTube, I encourage you to do so. And his story, and there's nothing short of heroics that you have to call Peyton Hillis a hero for what he put himself through to save his son and his niece. That was so powerful, and you handled it so well, by the way, David.
Well, thanks, Steve. Yeah, I appreciate that. If folks want to see, he did the only other interview he's done nationally with anybody is with Michael Strahan on Good Morning America, and that was a lot shorter. It was about 5 or 6 minutes. And for those who haven't heard, he was down in Pensacola, and his 8-9-year-old son and niece, got stuck in a riptide. And he went out there and he had to pass his son. His son was struggling, but his niece was struggling more, and so he had to swim past his son, which he said was the most heartbreaking thing he had to do, and it got to his niece, and then by the time he got to his son looked like he was about limp, and eyes were rolling back in the back of his head, and then he was struggling in 7-8 feet of water, and he was failing, and it was able to get him to the shore, and then was in he was on a ventilator for almost a week and a half in Pensacola, but he thought that he would not live. Just a very powerful story, and the difference was he told that story in front of those 600 people yesterday in a room with his family, and he got very emotional, which I knew he probably would be. But it's a great story. He said, "I'm not a hero. I'm a dad." You know, it's what any dad would do, and but it's powerful. It's just I'm sure he's going to deal with the nightmares and the trauma of just, but you know what? It was a good outcome. Of course, you know what happened 6 months later with Ryan Mallett. I mean, it was a bad summer for Razorback players and former players and that were dealing with those kind of things. But it's a great story. People can see it by going to lrtouchdown.com. If
you don't tear up, then you don't have blood pumping in your veins. I'm telling you, it just certainly thoughts and prayers go to him for a clean recovery in terms of getting over that from the mental side. And I wanted to roll on the mental side into listening to Coach Pittman. He dove in a lot on Monday on the mental side of coming off of a game like that at LSU. I'm not really trying to compare what Peyton Hillis went through with what this football team is going through, but from the mental side of things, I mean, this is a hard thing to flush, if you will, and move on to another great challenge in Dallas.
Well, Steve, I'll tell you, it actually, if anything, they should walk away going, okay, this is our identity. They've gotten the offense back to where KJ Jefferson is a active part of running the ball. That was not a part of the offense the first couple of weeks. I think they realized they had to have it because this offense can't work without that. So I think you walk away feeling pretty good about, hey, we had a chance to beat LSU at LSU. If we play like that, there's nobody on the schedule we can't at least compete with, and whether we win or not, I'm not sure, but at least they should walk away feeling pretty good about themselves after, a ton of criticism. The offensive line been hammered publicly and by fans about their lack of push, and they got to push at times Saturday against LSU. So they should walk into Arlington feeling positive about what the team could do.
How good is this offensive line, David?
Well, they certainly struggled. It was the first time, Sam Pittman's been talking about it all, the first 3 weeks. There's been no push. They haven't, they got a redshirt freshman and a freshman starting at tackle, and so they struggled. So this was the first time they played their best football, and maybe it was the level of competition. Maybe they knew they had to be in that mental mindset. But you got to go out there ready to play. I don't care who you're playing, but it's on now. It's conference, and everything's on the line now. So I think I hope to see an inspired team every week like we saw down in Baton Rouge.
So this game in particular is moving out of the Metroplex in 2 years. Do you think this game is ever going to go back to Jerry's World?
I don't think so. I think you're going to go back to home and home. As a former player who played at College Station, back in the old Southwest Conference days, we were talking about on our show today. Players need to go to College Station and see that environment. It is really, of course, now they got 105,000, whatever they have there. But all the traditions, it's really what makes college football great. Probably of all the stadiums I played in, that was the best in terms of just what the fans did, the traditions, the military, the band, all of it. And I don't doubt that they may stay in Jerry's World playing another team, another non-conference team. But, A&M, I think that'll go back to home and home.
Because I heard Sam Pittman say, I want to play as many home games as I can in my stadium. And then I heard Jimbo say, well, I want to play as many home games as I can in my stadium. I'm not sure that's going to work out too well.
Yeah. It's been a good run. Here's the other part of it, guys. I mean, how terrible is it? This is almost like a bowl game because you got fans traveling from two different parts of the country, and the kickoff's at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
There's no tailgating. There's no game day experience. It's just, I know it's doing it for TV, but it just completely eliminates, anything related to the extra stuff of football, which is pregame and postgame. It just, it's just a shame that's the way that thing fell.
Yeah, it really is. And you're exactly right. But honestly, I'm loving it personally as a program director in Huntsville, Alabama, because I'm airing that game on ESPN Radio. And it leads right into our Bama pregame, which we're a Crimson Tide affiliate that starts at 5 p.m. for like an 8:20 kick probably.
Yeah, no, again, everybody's meeting, we're all like, okay, we're going to get through at 3 o'clock with the game or 2 o'clock with the game. And so, of course, we do a pregame show at 4 hours before the game. And so we'll be at Jerry's World setting up at 6 a.m., starting the show at 7 a.m. But we've done it before. Listen, when you had Chad Morris as your coach for 2 years, all your kickoffs are at 11 o'clock. So we're used to it.
David, come on now.
We've been in the valley. We've been in the valley. We know what it's like at the absolute worst. That's it.
So the collateral for Coach Pittman, is it starting to you tell me fit is very important. It feels like he's a very good fit, but with the change of coordinators, and you mentioned a little change of scheme that we saw in this LSU game, what kind of dings are heading towards the head hog himself?
Well, a lot of grumbling after the loss to BYU. If you win that game, you're sitting at 3-1 right now, and it gave you a little bit of grace. It would have given you a little bit of grace going into this 4-game road trip, which, as you guys know, mentioned A&M this week, then at Ole Miss, and at Bama. And so, I think this, there's some fans that are ready to move on. They just feel like he's in year 4. He's gotten us as good as we're going to get, and which is, he took us from the depths of where we were to at least, establish a program back on its feet. And then the others just say, hey, let's just wait and see what happens this year. You won 7 games last year with the bowl game. We'll see what happens this year as the season goes on. I think if they struggle and only win 6 or 7 games, I think you're going to get some impatient fans that say there's been enough time. After year 4, we should be better. But you know what? Who knows? He won 9 games 2 years ago. And this is the key. This game has always been the key for Arkansas, and Bielema never could win it. Chad Morris never won it, and Pittman won it 2 years ago, and it led to a 9-win season. So you got to beat A&M, you got to beat Missouri. Those are the two. The difference between maybe winning 7 games or 8 games or 9 games are winning these games, and they have not been able to do it very often over the last 5, 6, 7 years.
Well, I really got a kick out of Sam giggling at Jimbo being on the field in the Auburn game, and then Jimbo trying to justify it, saying that he never saw the fumble. I mean, just those back and forth, you could not be any more polar opposite than how Sam Pittman speaks and how Jimbo Fisher speaks.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of that today. Yeah, that was a bizarre deal. Only Jimbo could find himself out there in that position. I mean,
I called him the 12th man, David.
I know. Listen, I started hearing those immediately after that was shown. So that's that was. I don't know if I've ever seen that before, other than the old 1940 video of the guy tripping the guy running down the field. That was unique.
Oh, I can't thank you enough for hopping on, and that's an early wake-up call there in Dallas, but we'll all be watching.
Thanks, guys. Always good to jump on with you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, yes, sir. David Basil joining us. You can check him out at 103.7 The Buzz weekday morning. So he's your early morning riser anyway. This is just another early wake-up call. It just happens to be a Saturday early wake-up call. Let's go ahead and take our first time out. We're here live at Mark Camara's Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. We'll be right back.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Logan Hoffman of the Hoffman Group is a proud supporter of Buckhorn Athletics. The Hoffman Group is now powered by Stockton Mortgage and is a full-service mortgage lender and servicer. That means you're getting local and reliable service from Logan Hoffman and the Hoffman Group. Tune in every Thursday through the Tom Abraham Show to hear Bucks head football coach Matt Patterson, presented by the Hoffman Group. Score a touchdown with Logan Hoffman and the Hoffman Group, powered by Stockton Mortgage.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying, Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
Mark and Henry McDaniel, attorneys at law, are proud alumni of Madison Academy, and Madison Academy is proud of them. They have served our community through their practice, through volunteerism and service on national, state, and local boards. They explain the complexity of critical court rulings on local media. Their successful practice has been built on integrity. Both are veterans of MA Athletics and proud sponsors of Mustang football. McDaniel & McDaniel, attorneys at law. No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by the lawyer.
Tired of the same old menu options everywhere you go? Then you need to try Metro Diner in Huntsville and Madison. The award-winning Metro Diner serves up signature dishes like their Charleston shrimp and grits, famous fried chicken and waffles with strawberry butter, and lots more. Their entire menu is available anytime, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And stop by for brunch on Saturday or Sunday and enjoy the lowest price mimosas in town. Airport Road, Huntsville, and Highway 72 in Madison. In diner or at home, make it Metro Diner.
Electric cars are coming faster than you think, and that's why we're bringing SEMA Connect to Alabama.
Our team educates you and helps provide a long-term plan for your business. Where to put them, how to get them there, how to pay for them, tax incentives, service, and monitoring. We take care of everything.
Doing the right thing means bringing EV car chargers to Alabama. Let us help you with your EV charging plan.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
The End Zone Sports Bar has done it again. This time, they're bringing their jumbo wings, handcrafted burgers, Tex-Mex, and New York-style pizza to the Midtown District with their new location on McMurtry Drive Northwest opposite the Target Plaza. Tuesdays at the End Zone means half-price burgers, and Wednesday is $1 jumbo wings all day long. The End Zone also features Sunday ticket for all your NFL viewing. The newest End Zone Sports Bar in the Midtown District on McMurtry near the Target Plaza. Get in the End Zone. When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
New coordinators.
That's as good as money, sir.
New quarterback.
It's my quarterback.
Same coach.
All right, and you all may be taking the week off, all right, this week, but I'm not.
We are your home of the Alabama Crimson Tide. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
We're walking up to Braves baseball. Along with Wes Neighbors, Steve Moulton back here with you from Mark Camara's Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. Bryce has been holding very patiently, I might add. Let's talk to Bryce. I appreciate your patience, sir. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Steve. How are you and Wes today?
We're good. Thank you for asking.
Hey, I thought the team played much better, and they cut out on the mistakes. And they just need to keep improving if they want to be a better team at the end of the year and have something to say about things, in my opinion.
Well, I would say the defense, if you have a defense like that, it's going to keep you in every game that you tee it up.
Yeah, the defense is carrying the offense, but you just can't make
I know
those.
I'm just rolling off of what Jen was previewing for us on the Alabama defense. All credit needs to go to Jen on her numbers that she came with studying up. I need to step up my game, Wes.
There's no question. I've been saying that for years.
Hey, Wes, when y'all traveled to Starkville, y'all took a bus. Y'all didn't take the plane, did you?
Well, yeah, but you drive to. We stayed in a hotel that was right outside of Starkville. We spent the night in a hotel outside of Starkville.
But
so,
you took
yeah.
the bus, you didn't take the plane, right?
Yeah, I mean, what? There's nowhere to fly.
Highway 80.
I mean, you take you longer to sit on the thing than it would to,
sit on the tarmac.
Yeah,
Right.
so, we drove, but you know, one year we played them in Jackson.
Really?
Yeah. That was.
You
That was
took the
awful.
plane in, didn't you?
Yeah, I think we did take the plane then. I can't remember. That's when I was a freshman. I had to be around. Even though I was playing, I was just glad to be around. I played a guy named Elvis. He was about 6'9", 330.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. Yeah, he couldn't sing. He had eyes going everywhere.
Hey,
And he was huge.
This barbecue place, is it new to Huntsville, the one y'all going to be at? Is it, what's the name of it? Is it Golden River?
Oh, you talking about Full Moon? No, it's been around here for a minute.
Really, I didn't know because I would always, when I carried my fishing buddy that lived in Coleman to Birmingham, we'd always start in Gardendale and eat at Full Moon there because I didn't know.
Yeah, so Full Moon Barbecue was started by
Ray.
No. It was originally started by a coach at Alabama that was Pat James. Pat James started Full Moon Barbecue, and back in the day, and then he sold it to the family that owns it now.
Well,
Bryce, I appreciate.
How long have you been in Huntsville?
I have
2
no
years.
idea. 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
Okay, well, it hadn't been that long then. I just didn't know it was over there because I would have went to it if I knew it was in Huntsville.
You come to the furniture factory.
Yeah, Mark Camara's.
I've been there a few times, and I've been there. How's the new place?
It's good.
It's good. Doing good. Yeah. Doing good.
Out in Providence. Bryce, thank you so much for the phone call. Let's talk to Mark Camara.
Hello, guys.
How we doing?
How was Jan tonight?
She was awesome.
She's always.
She hadn't quite made it to her peak performance like she did when Tom was here, but it was close.
What did she say to Tom one night?
Says, "What do you do?
What do you do? What do you do?" Yeah.
Well, Tom's not listening.
No, he's not listening. He's not listening.
He's eating right now.
Or watch his grandkids play football.
Something like
that. Eating though. He's eating. I guarantee you. There's a hot dog involved.
Listen, guys, I just want to. We're having October 28th here, a Halloween party like there's never been in Huntsville, Alabama. It's X5 podcast. If you go on, the X network, you go to the podcast.
That's a Bama bye week, by the way.
It's X5 podcast. Is sponsoring this thing. Charlie Reese is the owner of this podcast. If you ever go on there, check it out. It's an entertainment, comics, everything. He does the podcast himself. It's phenomenal. And what we're having that night, and he's sponsoring this whole show. The Velcro Pygmies are going to be here.
Okay.
Free show. No one pays to get in. Okay. He's got Danny Frazier. If y'all Google Danny Frazier, his entertainment's unbelievable. Officer Rudy's the guy that impersonates Elvis. He doesn't. His legs are gone. It's on the shows he's going to do. Big Earl's going to be next door at Rocket Republic that night, which it's all on the house. There's no cover charge. But here's the kicker. Charlie in the X5 podcast is giving away $10,000 cash that night. Okay.
Oh wow.
Three different segments of the Halloween costume party, and then every 45 minutes or every 15 minutes or 30 minutes, he's going to shoot out $500 bills. He's got these big old cannons. They're going to shoot out money all over the daggum dance floor and everything. But it's a freak show, and it's going to be phenomenal like nothing ever been here before. There'll be a fence around the whole place. The crowd's going to be enormous, but there's no cover. And
is it just early you get here, the better?
Earlier the better. There's no reserved tables, anything like that.
Saturday, October 28th.
Yeah, Saturday, October 28th. In the X5 podcast, everybody look it up. It's an unbelievable entertainment podcast. He brings them
I will look it up.
I mean, Kid Rock's on there, whatever. Tracy Lawrence. So it's different people, and I think every Wednesday night it's live. So, but I just want to announce that, to be looking for this. It's going to be announced, if not today or yesterday. I forget what they're going to do, but it's going to be a night you'll never forget here.
X5 podcast.
Yeah, it's right there on the wall. They sponsored my stage. He sponsors my stage at Furniture Factory in Providence, the Rocker Republic next door, the Haven. So, but that night's going to be something else.
Oh, why?
Okay. And then you
looked at me when he said there's no reserve seating.
No. I mean, somebody's going to call me, I'm sure, about the reserve seating. But there's a legit $10,000 cash going to be given away that night.
That's awesome.
On the house, okay, on Charlie Reese and his X5 podcast. He's a phenomenal promoter and businessman, and he's got a podcast that's second to none in the country right now. It's just wild as could be. So check it out, and we'll go from there. I just kind of wanted to announce it. I know Jen was on earlier, and
broke down the Bama secondary.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, it's this. She's getting up on that stuff, man.
Oh, I know it.
Before she asked me if they're playing golf or football, but now I pushed her towards the football.
There you go.
God bless her. She's the best. But and another little thing out there, I got, I've got Southern Gales now.
Yes, sir.
And we got bent grass greens. These cool nights. The greens are phenomenal.
This is perfect
right now.
weather.
My son Greg runs the show out there. We're building some friends of mine are developing an area, putting 300 homes around it. That whole area is just booming up. So, and my youngest son Johnny just qualified the first stage of Q school. He goes on to the second one here in the next couple of weeks. He'll find out where he's playing.
Good for him.
Last week.
Yeah. That's a hard thing.
Yeah, it's very hard, and he played really, really well, and he's hitting the ball good. So, but it's cool stuff. But the main thing I wanted to tell you about this Halloween party we got coming up, there's nothing like it in Huntsville. Never has been anything like this, what we're going to have here. And you get to see the world-famous Velcro Pygmies for nothing, free. So get here early and plan on it. Write it on your calendars and go
plan
from
on
there.
staying, yeah.
Okay.
Giving us a little bit of notice, a little over a month away.
Yeah. And we got Saturday night, if you like the Doors, all you Doors fans, we got the Dirty Doors here.
No bass.
These guys are great. So,
no bass.
All right. But I wanted to basketball soon, man.
That's right.
Can't wait.
That's right.
All right. Okay.
Thank you, Mark.
Glad y'all had Jay Jacobs on tonight. That was interesting. All right. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you, Mark.
Bye-bye.
I did want to play. I played a little bit of Coach Dye in the first segment. Here is Coach Dye on the Harper Lee story.
There's something about Harper Lee.
Yeah. What about Harper Lee? You don't know the story?
Yeah, the story.
How much time we got?
Yeah, we got 5.5 minutes.
I can't tell it in 5.5 minutes. I'll tell you, I go as far as I can go.
All right. All right, Ray, get ready to put it in manual.
Did you read To Kill a Mockingbird?
No, I have not.
Well, you ought to read it.
I know it.
You read it?
Yes, sir. It was mandatory in high school.
Literature.
Yes.
Well, I read To Kill a Mockingbird. When I got through, I said, well, that's a nice little Southern story. And I kind of forgot about it. And then I read Mockingbird, which is an autobiography of Harper Lee. And the guy did a great job with the research on it. And when I read Mockingbird about her life and where she grew up and how she grew up and so forth, I said, I better go back and read that book again. So I went back and read it a second time. And when I laid it down, I said, I'm going to Monroe, Alabama and meet Harper Lee. I said, she's a hero to me. And I went and told Nancy, I said, I'm going to Monroe to see Harper Lee. She said, she ain't going to see you. I said, well, I'm going to give her the chance to. And you let her turn me down. So I just happened to have, my brother had a stepdaughter that lived down there, and her best friend lived across the street, and he kind of looked after Harper Lee, take her to Biloxi and take her to eat catfish, and she's in a nursing home. But was close friends, and he set it up for me to come down there and see her. But the first thing they said, Pat Dye wants to come down here and see you. She said, I don't know what he wants to come down here and see me for. I said, I don't know nothing about no football. I sent word back to her. I said, you tell Miss Lee, I said, I don't know nothing about literature either, but I still want to come down there and meet her. So I go down there, and this guy that takes her around was an Auburn guy. He gone to Auburn to pharmacy school and owned a drugstore. So anyway, he took me, got me in the car, and we rode around. He said, let me ride you around town. He said, right over there. I said, that's school right there. I said, it's been bricked over the board, but the boards are still there. There's a lapboard side in school. Said, Boo Radley lived right there. And these are characters in the book.
Yeah.
Said, they killed the dog right down that corner there. Said, Tom Robinson, they held him in the jail right down the street there.
Mm-hmm.
And said, the courthouse where they had the trial is right over there. So I saw all that before I went out there to the nursing home, and I went out there, and she's in a wheelchair, and we were getting in the car, and I said, Ms. Lee, before we get started here, I said, what do you want me to call you? I said, I can call you Ms. Lee, I can call you Harper Lee, I can call you Harper, or what. She said, just call me Nell. Said, all my friends call me Nell, and that's, the name is Nell Harper Lee, or Nell Harper Lee, I think, something like that. But anyway, so we get out to the house, and we start talking, and she's close friends with Coach Bryant. And she's on a lot of banquets and fundraisers and stuff, recognition stuff with Coach Bryant, and even up in New York. So, of course, see, her sister graduated from Alabama from law school, Alice, her older sister. She went and quit a month before she's supposed to take the bar exam and moved to New York. She lived in New York 6 months on a day. 6 months, 5 months and 29 days. Lived in Alabama 6 months and a day. So she paid taxes in Alabama. But she when she died, she still had an apartment in one of them that they kept the rent the same forever.
Right, yeah. Can't ever go up.
It can't ever go up.
Right.
And she had an apartment there. And so anyway, I got to going down there and got to be friends with her. She liked Coach Bryant, and I liked her, and I told her, I said, you're a hero to me. I said, anybody, a little girl that could grow up in Monroeville when you're a little 8, 10-year-old girl and can see the things around you and remember them like you remember them, and have guts enough to write a book about it and publish it in 1960, I said, you're a hero. And that's the way I feel. I mean, she's, I don't know all of her problems or whatever she might have had or whatever been, but she did that one thing, and it was a lot. It made a lot of people in Monroeville mad, but they finally came around, and they still have To Kill a Mockingbird play down there in Monroeville every spring, and There's a lot of things that she said and done. I don't think I got time to tell it. One of them, I told her, I said, you ain't got sense enough to write a book like you wrote. And she looked at me kind of funny. I said, nobody got sense enough to write a book like that. To write a book like you wrote, you have to write it with your heart, your soul, your guts, your passion, your compassion. I said, everything in your body goes into writing a book like that. It's just like an athlete getting in a zone. I said, you can't just be smart enough to put that down on paper. It's more than that. And she said, well, I tried to write 2 or 3 more books, and I never could finish one. I said, well, they wouldn't be as good as the one you wrote. She said, probably not. And I had just been to the bookstore and bought 3 or 4 books to get her to sign for me. I said, I tell you what, I bet you're making more money on To Kill a Mockingbird right now than you were when you wrote the book. She said, I am. Because they got 6, 8 kind of copies that you can get, plus the audio and all of that.
Yeah.
And in Mockingbird, the guy said, he told her, said, they said that Truman Capote wrote To Kill a Mockingbird. She said, no. Said, he's a friend of mine. She said, but I wrote it. So you can just consider me the Jane Austen of Alabama. and I'm reading the book, and I said, "Who the hell is Jane Austen?" Well, Nancy, she's literate.
Yeah.
She got all them books, so I go digging in her library over there, and I come up with Pride and Prejudice, and I read Pride and Prejudice, and I end up reading every book Jane Austen ever wrote, and then bought all the videos. Well, I told her that, and she said, "Well, you know, Jane Austen never moved over 10 miles from where she was born."
I didn't know that.
And she could see the whole world in a grain of sand. Now, that's pretty damn powerful.
That is right there.
And of course, Jane Austen, all of her books were wrote in 1600s, 1700s.
I think so. We kind of went off on a little bit of a tailspin right there. But I'm telling you, there are a couple of shows I have posted that is Coach Dye and Coach Fuller in recent times over on our SoundCloud. I call it the Drive in Reverse. But there was one, it was here at Mark Camara's Furniture Factory. We were over there next to the post, and they were both talking. We turned off our microphones so we could eat our dinner.
Yeah, we ate. A couple times we had to come back in and
get them back on the railroad tracks. But, I mean, that is posted as well. But, I mean, it's Auburn, Georgia week, and after seeing the documentary last night on PBS. And by the way, if you missed it, it's going to re-air Thursday night at 8 o'clock. So just set your DVRs and have fun with that. But a lot of stories that, if you have been a longtime listener of this particular show, there are stories you heard from Coach Dye, even where his final resting place is. He said that to us multiple. Yeah.
When we had that conversation, we were out by the lake, right by the tree. Where, in fact, he told us that thing. He pointed right where he was going to be buried.
Well, that, and also we ended this one with the stump. Do you remember the stump?
Was that like a poem?
No. The stump that he pulled out of the ground for Nancy for Mother's Day.
He showed it to us when we got there.
Yeah, he was proud of that stump.
Yeah, I know.
He was very proud of that stump.
Yeah.
Man, I miss Coach Dye, miss Coach Fuller, but good to relive some memories, especially this week with the Auburn, Georgia, the Deep South's oldest rivalry once again renewed down on the Plains. We are going to punt over to the Braves. The Cubs currently lead it 2-0. That is in the top of the second. It looks like from here. You can check it out here at Mark Camara's Furniture Factory. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Braves baseball is next.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available